All right. So, what's going on with Orange County housing? I wanted to share with you today what's occurred in the last 2 weeks. And well, of course, it's slowed down a little bit, and it always does this time of the year. Nothing to freak out about. So many people, they come up to me and they say, "Oh, it's now a buyer's market, isn't it? Oh, the market's crashing." No, it's not. It's not. It's what we call an equilibrium market. And in the lower price range, it's still under 750,000. It's a seller's market, because when you're under 90 days on the market, that is considered a seller's market. When you go above that, then it becomes an equilibrium market up to a certain extent. So what I can share with you right now is in the last 2 weeks, inventory has risen by 1%, and that is because of the autumn market. The kids have gone back to school, all that. And we're going to see more of a slowdown, of course, going into the winter months, the holiday and everything. Now, demand, the number of escrows or properties that have gone into escrow, has declined by 8%. And that's actually a pretty high mark, but it's also the timing. And some people want to see what happens with the election. I mean, I'm hearing everything right now. Do I still think it's a good time to buy? Absolutely, especially if it's your principal residence that you're buying, because everyone needs a principal residence, and the interest rates are only going to go up, and I don't see them going down. And if they go up, it really makes a difference on your payments. I was selling real estate, gosh, when interest rates were 14%. And I remember what a difference it made when interest rates went below 10%. I thought it was a miracle. I got a mortgage at, I think it was 10%. And it was absolutely amazing. What happens though is when interest rates rise, we become more creative in our selling approach. There's a lot of assumable financing that's available, and so we go towards that. So someone may have a 5% interest rate loan, so we market it that way. Hey, great loan that you can assume at 5% interest, so you don't have to go with 11%. The seller will carry back 10%. So there's always transactions going on. So I don't want you to be nervous about that. But what I can share with you, the market has transitioned since last year. And for instance, last year, and I wrote a couple notes down because I wanted to make sure I wouldn't forget them. Well, first of all, this year's lowest demand, 2008, I mean, as of this last week, since 2018, should I say, since 2007. So, not to be concerned about that we're going into a market like we had in 2007, because back then I had to just touch the steering wheel to keep the auto drive on. So anyway, but because back then we had a financial crisis. I mean, we had the S&L crisis, and then in 2008, of course, the stock market crashed as well. I remember feeling all of that, and I'm sure a lot of you did. My navigation is now speaking to me, so I have to head over to the 55. So I'm going to go over to the 55 and be very careful. And what's really awesome with this, I'm going to just, I better not do it now. Oh, okay. I'm not getting in a car accident, I promise, with all of you on this. Okay, I took off my self-driving feature, because even though it will self-drive for you, it will literally put you into the next lane. I get nervous doing that because you never know if someone is going to speed up. And once in a while you hear about those accidents with Teslas when they're using the self-driving feature. So, okay, now I'm going to put the self-driving feature back on. There we go. Okay. Well, it's not going on right now because I think I did something. Oh, I know what I did. Okay, yeah, okay, I have to push it twice. Sorry about that. Okay, you're gonna learn a little bit about Teslas. Okay, so I wrote a couple notes. See, I can be hands-free. Isn't this amazing with the Tesla? I just promise I'm gonna be really careful though. I want to say hi to Benjamin. It's good to see you. Benjamin, I'm gonna sponsor you in that race. I just haven't had a chance to do that yet. Okay, so normal, what's really important to know is like with inventory right now, but I remember we're at like 7,030 properties on the market in Orange County. That's changed. That doesn't, I know it kind of sounds high, but the average, when you look at a expansive time for inventory, is 8,000. So we're under that. So it's nothing to panic about, you know, with our number of inventory. A lot of homes are going to be going off the market as well, a lot of properties. And so we're going to see the inventory go down. Demand always goes down around this time because there's not as many buyers. But keep this in mind, the buyers that are out are the serious buyers. So I always tell my sellers that, that was a reminder I needed to just kind of move the steering wheel. See, it did a little beep beep. Thank goodness for that. And then and a couple of other things. Inventory is peaking now, and you're going to find, you know, a lot of the sellers will take out their homes off the market. So what do you do when the masses are doing one thing? A lot of times you want to do the opposite of what the masses are doing. Maybe you put your home on the market when they're taking their homes off the market. So sometimes you do the opposite, and you might be pleasantly surprised. But it's really important right now to price your home very well. We're past the days of like testing prices out. And, you know, I'm even seeing it, I see it all the time, where even people that were on the market a couple months ago, they're overpriced now because not that the prices have fallen, but maybe they tested the market a couple months ago and it's time for them to lower their prices. In fact, gosh, I know I think it's 60%, I wrote this down, of all homes that are on the market have reduced their price at least one time. I want to double check. No, 44%. See, I like to double check my facts. So I wrote that down. I try to remember all these things, but you know, you can only remember a couple things at one time. So 44% of all active listings have done at least one price reduction. So keep that in mind. Now, a lot of people ask me, what is the sales price to list price ratio? Like, how much are people negotiating off list price? Well, it really depends on your price point, obviously. In the really high-end ranges, when you're looking at, let's say, a $3 million property or a $4 million property, it could be 7% or 6%. Now, the median price, which is under $900,000 for Orange County, you're looking at under 3%. So it's under 3%. So, you know, we're not negotiating 5%. We're not negotiating 10%. And these are rounded up numbers, just so you know. And then the average days on market currently for the median sales price home is 98 days. Now that changed. Last year, you'll notice it was quite different, because last year at the same time it was 64 days. So it is different this year. And then a couple of other things I put down. The average listing price has always kind of hovered in Orange County at around $1.6 million. And I know that seems atrocious. You're like going, well, wait a minute. You know, we live in Texas, we're in Tennessee. How can anyone afford a property, you know, at $1.6 million? Yeah, that's the average list price, but keep in mind that the $15 million properties in Laguna Beach that are oceanfront, or in Newport Beach, they're bringing up the average list price. But that's not the average sales price. The average sales price is under $900,000 for Orange County. but the average list price just lowered. So now it's 1.5 million. So it lowered 100,000 for the list price. And then let's see here, what else could be very interesting for me to share with you. Right, I wrote some other notes here. I'm trying to make this interesting, so I'm not reading off notes, because I actually I love statistics, because my mother, I was raised by an economist. So very interesting. Homes that are above $2.5 million, they equal 35% of all active inventory, and roughly 15% of demand. So a lot of the properties that we represent all price points, though. So, because some people think, oh, McGuire team, you only do high end, super high end, or whatever. And I said, no. We represent all different price ranges. Everyone's special. And with the high end, when you're looking at $2.5 million, though, $2.5 million a property, you're looking at only 15% of all people that are out looking at homes are looking at your property. So that's why pricing is really important. And I hear in the high end a lot, oh no, I've heard this, in every price point. Well, it'll take that one special buyer. Or, in the high end, it doesn't matter. They're paying cash. It doesn't matter about the appraisal coming in. Oh yes, it does matter. It really does matter. Because even with all cash buyers, they're sensitive to price. And if you're overpriced, many times the market doesn't come to you. The right buyer doesn't even know about your property. So I'm, always having to consult my clients, and, share with them statistics and why I feel, it's important, the price is really key. Give them a couple options on pricing. But, in regards to the median sales price, really 75% of the work is done with, getting the property sold within the first 30 days. You really want to have your property sold within the first 30 days, because when it goes beyond 30 days, then people start wondering what's wrong with it. Okay, when you go up above that, when you're in the high end, yeah, the high end is a lot more days on market, but let's stretch that out to maybe a couple months. Even though the high end, anything, wow, when you're looking at $4 million, you're looking at, a year. You're looking at sometimes over a year. I actually have those statistics too, but, but if it's compelling, it's selling. I always say that to all of my sellers, because they say, oh, well, the average days on market is going to be, 334 days anyway, so I'm not going to worry about it. I said, no. But those are for average properties. A lot of them are overpriced. But if you want to be selling your home, you need your home needs to be compelling. And it will sell, because you see maybe your neighbor's property, they priced it right, it was show ready, it looked really good, and it sold within the first 30 days. And that could be you. So don't just go by statistics, because you want to be above the statistics. You want to be always looking better. And I always say you never want to be average. You want to look better than everyone else. Okay, I want to make sure I'm not getting lost, so I'm going in the right direction. And then, one other thing that's so important, because I hear, I only want distressed properties. Distressed properties are, you can hear my navigation. I'm going to put it on mute. That's my very side. I love this navigation voice. She's so calming. But anyway, so with distressed properties, it's a combination of bank foreclosures and short sales. Right now, and this is pretty high right now, but it's only 1% of all properties that sell are distressed properties. That's it. So it's not like we have a great distressed property market. And if you wait too long, you're going to lose out on some really great resale properties that aren't distressed, but they're priced right. So, sometimes, and then you might have a higher interest rate or something. So, I always say if you get 70% of what you want in a home, usually it is, it's telling you it's the right home, but you're going to know it. I never, and my sales partners know this, in our training, we never ever put on a sales pitch or anything like that. I don't believe in that. I don't believe in pressuring people. They're going to feel it right away. They're going to feel it if it's right or not. It's our job to guide them, because some people just get cold feet. They just don't know, and it's our job to direct them, because if we know it's the right property, we need to direct them. We don't want to miss out on what could be the, really the home of their dreams, even though it might be missing a couple components, but they're never going to get the perfect home. And then let me see if there's anything else that's important. Okay, so luxury home demand is, luxury home demand is down 28% since mid-May of this year. And when we talk about luxury homes in Orange County, you always wonder, what price are we talking about? 1.25 million and above. That is what luxury homes are defined by. Now, of course, there's different, I'm taking it off navigation because I need to get off at MacArthur Parkway for my next appointment. So guess where I'm at? I'm in Irvine. Those of you in other states, you probably don't know what I'm talking about, but you Orange County people, you know what MacArthur Parkway is. So that is Irvine. All right. So that is basically it for my, there was another thing, but let me get over to, I already missed MacArthur Parkway, by the way, because I was too busy talking. So I'm going to get over to Culver Drive. I tend to do this when I'm talking, but I'm being very careful not to get in an accident. And I won't be on much longer, I promise. Okay, so I'm getting into the lane, and now I'm putting on my self-drive feature. There we go, got my self-drive feature. All right, and this last thing, statistic for Orange County Housing Report. Now, properties that are under $750,000, they represent 41% of all active listings. And oh shoot, I forgot to write down the darn figure of what had the demand, but I remember it was like 55% of demand. It was something like that. It was really high. So most of our sales in Orange County, obviously, are in that $700,000 to $900,000 price range. So don't think when you're in smaller towns that they're at $600,000 prices or $400,000, that all we're doing is we're selling these $2 million estates. That's not the case. I have a few properties that are in escrow at $350,000. So these little condos and stuff. And then I have a $4 million one in escrow, and then we're negotiating on one that's even more expensive than that. So we're all over the board. Okay, I'm going to leave you with a really awesome quote. And I love this quote, and I say it every single day. And Wayne Dyer, who of course passed away, he is an amazing speaker, very spiritual, but he used to say this in his podcasts and his books, and he'd say, you're only one thought away from having a great life. So I want to leave you with that, because so many times we can turn our lives around, our day around. You may have started out on the wrong side of the bed today, whatever, but just change that one thought you're having, and you can have a really awesome day. So I'm gonna leave you with that. Have an awesome day. I hope you all think about me and my amazing team for your South Orange County real estate needs. And I'm going to my next appointment. Take care. Bye-bye.